Hey, welcome to Taylor's Trick Taking Table. I'm taking a little twirl, showing off my Vegas outfit, Little dice, pocket aces, ooh, bet on the house. I think I am dressed perfectly for Vegas soon. I'm going to Dice R West in Vegas, and we're doing Game Market Vegas. The list of games is up. Check out the link in the description to check out the games. So many wonderful titles. A good deal of trick taking, which I absolutely love. Maybe after this, maybe a few weeks, so I get some time to play them, but I might do like a Game Market Vegas showdown of all the wonderful trick taking games that were at the market. Come on down. It's Thursday the 6th and Saturday the 8th at 6 p.m. It's gonna be so wonderful. I'll be there running around doing crazy stuff. There will be games galore. I'm so excited. And at Dice R West, we're doing a bunch of stuff. We're doing panels. I think I'm doing a trick-taking design and development panel with Chris Yee and Mike DeLisio. That should be so much fun. And there's going to be a wonderful amount of just trick-taking games in space being played. We're going to be next to the Thinker Themer, the Outback. It's going to be so much fun. Definitely see you there. I won't be wearing this all the time, but one day, maybe Friday, I'll be definitely wearing this, so you'll know whom to look for. Well, without further ado, no more trick-takeuary, sadly. This is now March Madness. We will be legally doing a basketball game, maybe. We'll see. Anyway, the games we're covering today are Fishing, I guess, is the English title, by Friedman Freeze, and Gear by Takashi Saito. We have covered a ton of Takashi's games. We covered Loop and Open in the past. And so is this as good as those? We shall see. The hook of this one is, I think it's based on an older game. I think it's inspired by that. But you are essentially bidding on what cards you take, but you're bidding with your points, and then you're trying to play cards, go out, yada yada. Then we have Friedman Freeze's Fishing, where this one it's called a trick building game, but essentially it is like Fabled Fruit, if you played Fabled Fruit, mixed with trick taking. So if you don't win a lot of cards, you will be able to take cards from a super strong deck and build a stronger hand for the next round. But if you do take cards, like if you win a trick, you're going to take all those cards into your ship, I guess is the theme, and then those are going to make up your hand for the next round, maybe. Unless you take a ton of cards, then you're going to be going through a bunch of the lower, weaker cards that you caught from earlier rounds. I hope that makes sense. Let's go to the table and show these bad boys off. All right, bye. The deck in Fishing is 1 to 10 in 4 suits. As of right now. Over the course of the game, there will be new cards introduced, maybe like a Trump suit, which is green, fittingly. Also, there are cards that go to 0, and special cards that come into play later. Here we have a game of Fishing set up for 4 players, so depending on the player count, you're going to use the correct player count side, which will have different setup for that player count specifically. So since we're using 4 players, we're going to remove the 1s, because it says 2 through 10s in those 4 suits, so we're going to take this out. After that, you're going to actually flip this card, and this is going to keep track of the hand size for the players in each of the 8 rounds. So as you can see, you're going to put it here. So in the first round, everyone is going to get 9 cards shuffled and dealt to them. We just have this original deck that is 2 through 10 in the 4 suits, so actually this is going to be perfectly dealt out. After everyone has their cards, everyone is also going to get a player aid, which we're going to hide for now, and a catch fish card and a boat card, which they are going to use to denote which cards they won, and then also which cards are going to be drawing, kind of their deck of sorts. And finally, you're going to grab the deck of all the cards that just get juicier and juicier. You're going to organize them in order of stars. So you're going to have 1s, then up to 2s, then up to 3s, and you're going to put them right next to the play area for drawing later. Starting with the start player, let's say it's this person here, they are going to lead to the first trick. And so Fishing is a must-follow game. So if they play this 10 here, everyone must play in the same suit. And the highest of the lead card, because there's no trump yet, is going to win. This player didn't have any of those, so they're just going to play an offsuit 8. And then finally, this player is going to play the 6. Again, the highest of the leads who's going to win. This is the 10 and the seagull. They're going to take all the cards in the trick, and they're going to put them into their capture pile. Capture pile would be here, because that is what the image is. And then that player will lead to the next trick. And so flow like this will continue, where a player will, win a trick, put on the capture pile, win a trick, put on the capture pile. And maybe this player wins a trick, or maybe this player wins a trick. And flow like this is going to continue until you've done all of the tricks. When players are out of cards, that's going to be the end of the round, and players are now going to count how many cards are in their caught pile. And that is going to be a point per card. So this player over here has 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you're going to get 12 points. You're going to keep track of that somehow, and then players are going to shuffle the cards that they got, and they're going to put them into their boat at the very bottom. So if they did have a card or any cards here, it's going to go at the very bottom of that, but at the first round, players don't really have any of that, so they're just going to shuffle, put it over to the side here. So as you can see, this player over here has a bajillion points. This player already counted theirs. This player over here has 8, and then this player over here has 0. So after everyone has counted their cards as points, shuffled their cards, and put them over here, then the next round is going to get prepared. And how we do that is by adding cards from this deck to any players who do not have cards. So you're going to slide this down, and you're going to see how many cards players will draw into their hand for the next round. As you can see, it increases. It goes 9 all the way to 12, but we're still at 9. So now this player over here is going to draw 9 cards. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, 1, 2, 3. And so they're going to have a hand of 9. This player's also going to have a hand of 9. This player over here was trying to draw 9, but they only have 8. So they actually need 1 more, and this player over here needs 9 completely. So how it works is players who need cards are going to draw them from this stack now. So now the player who needs 8 is going to draw first, and you can just deal them from the bottom of the deck. That's what we do, where it's the 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So this player has 9 cards, and they're all special and new. And now this player needed 1, so we're just going to give them 1. And so no one else needs, so we're just going to put that there. And as you can see, now players have some special cards. And so coming over to this player, because they have even more, we can talk about a little bit of the special cards. Well, some of them are just higher ranks. So this is the 11s and all the suits, so this player is probably going to win a lot. And then now also this player got some trump. So the green suit is the trump suit, so the highest of the trump suit will win the trick if it's played. If there's no trump, it's just high as a lead suit. And now this card. So this card, which is helpful to see on the player aid here, this is, before the trick is captured, you're going to grab any of the cards that's not this one and put it into your capture pile. So let's look at an example in that case, now that everyone has their cards. The player with the fewest points is going to lead the trick, and if it's tied, it's whoever played a card earlier in the previous trick. But so the player over here had 0 points, right? Because they captured nothing, so they're going to start into the first trick. So now we're going to see a little bit of the wildness that they have. So maybe if they lead one of those special cards, notice it is blue, so it still must follow blue. So this player over here is going to play that, and this player over here, it doesn't have blue, so they're just going to slough off with this 3. And finally, this player up here probably has blue. Yep, they do, so they're going to play that. So after the trick has been played but before it's captured by the winning player, which would be this player over here because they played the 6 blue, this player is going to capture any other card that's not that. So maybe they want the 6, that's going to go into their capture pile. So notice that person got a point, which is cool, and they got a pick. Whereas this player over here didn't get 4 points like in the previous round, but they got 3 points. This comes over here, and then this player will now lead to the trick. Maybe they play that. If for some reason this player actually was out of this, even though we all know they had it, they can play whatever they want, and if they play a trump suit into the trick, they will win it because it's the highest trump. And then again, they will take all the cards into the trick and then lead the next trick. So flow like this is going to continue, and it's going to continue same way, where you're going to get points, shuffle, deal, get points, shuffle, deal, until, again, if you're out of cards at the end of the round and you need new cards, you're going to get some from here. And as you can see, it goes to 10, then 11, then 12, and then after that 8th round, you are going to stop and just see whoever has the most points. With that out of the way, we can talk a little bit about some of the future cards. Well, we already know what those do, but there are some buoys, which you can play whenever you want, which do some special things. This one is after played, or after the trick, everyone will pass a card to the left. This one is you get to call the color of the trick, trump included, and then everyone must follow. even the person who plays. You kind of dictate the lead suit for that trick. This is just 3 minus points, so you can just give someone 3 minus points, which is cool. And then this one is the lowest card actually wins. Lowest trump, if any. And then I think that's mostly it. Oh, there's this one. This one's pretty wild, where you place all of the other cards into your capture pile. So just kind of win it. And that's how to play fishing. The deck and gear is ace through 10, and there's 2 blue copies and 2 black copies each of every number. Ace is 1, but also sometimes it's an 11. Here we have a game of gear set up for 4 players, so no matter the player count, you're going to shuffle the cards, and you're going to deal 2 to each player. Also, each player is going to get a player aid. Also, they're going to get 2 bidding cards, and 1 player is going to get the start player card. And then, depending on player count, you're going to deal out that many cards, 6 face up for every player, kind of like an offer here, and then the rest can just be cut. So starting with that purple player, they will look at their hidden 2 cards dealt, and they have a black 5 and a 6, and then they're going to try to bid on what they think is best for their hand, or just a really strong hand in general. So over here, there's a 5, over here is a 6, maybe they want to do something up there. There's a 10 up there, which is relatively strong, but maybe they like this one over here, so they're going to bid a 0 over here. Coming to the next player in line, they are looking at their hand, they have a 9 and a 2. Maybe they want to overbid this player over here for whatever reason. And when you overbid, you just place a number higher, and that bid goes back to that player. So classic kind of bidding stuff. So this player over here, they could bid like 4 on here, and then this player over here could bid 4 here again and kick that player out. Maybe that is a hotly contested spot. And so to overbid, you have to bid a higher number. So if a player bids 5, like maybe this comes back to the player and they really want it, that can't be overbid. That is just that player's. And now coming to this player, maybe they just do this, and maybe this player over here just takes this for free. So once everyone has bid on something, you're going to remember what they bid, because those are points. They're essentially giving up points to be able to take that open hand. So you're going to make sure that players, when they take their cards back, are going to kind of keep face up what their bid was, because that is important. And then players are going to put their face up cards in front of them. This is part of their hand. So they have a face down hand, face up hand. So 8 total cards, but 2 of them are hidden. Once everyone has their hands, now starting with the start player, they're going to lead into the trick. So the trick play is interesting in that you can lead 1 card or 2 cards depending on what you have. So if you lead 1 card, let's just do an easy example here. It is must follow. So this player right here would have to play a black card if they have one, so maybe they play that 8. And when this player played an 8 and this player playing a 7, you're going to see who won the trick. It's highest in the lead suit. If it's tied, like in this case, it's the later played card. So the blue player will take this trick and then lead to the next trick. Jumping forward a little bit, let's say this player led a black ace, and coming to this player over here, and they have no black in their face up, but they do have a black in their hidden hand. They would have to play it because it all is 1 hand. But let's say they actually didn't have that. They can play whatever they want. They just won't win. So even if they play that 5, and it might have won if it was black, it doesn't win. So this player over here would win the trick and then lead to the next trick. Just to show an example of what the aces are, if there's no 10 in the trick, the aces are 1 and they will lose. But if a 10 of the same suit is in the trick, then ace actually beats the 10. It becomes an 11 and would win the trick. The last thing to explain is leading pairs. So a player can lead pairs, either 2 of the same color or 2 of different colors, and that is the lead for the round, including both pair lead and suit lead. And what I mean by that is, so let's say this player led 2 6s, coming over to this player over here. If they have a pair of blues, they would have to play it. Like maybe this player over here is probably going to have to play these 2 3s. But if you don't, you do have to follow suit and play 2 blues. So maybe this player plays that. Coming to this player over here, they only have 1 blue, but they still have to follow suit. They're going to have to play blue and then any other card. They don't have to play that 2, but they will have to play another card. And then coming back to this player, again, like we said, they're going to play the 2 3s. If they had other pairs, like if they had like a 2 or an 8 blue, they could play that. But so the highest pair on suit is going to win the trick, and that it counts as 2 tricks. So this player is going to collect those. And then also you can lead with a mixed color pair. So let's say this player actually led this. So jumping back to those examples, players would have to follow suit. So this person had a black hidden card. They'd have to play a black and a blue, just like that. And this player, back in this example, would have to play black and a blue and pair, so they'd actually have to play that. And then the highest black and blue would win. Similar to Tractor if you've played the game Tractor. And so after all the tricks have been played out, players are just going to look at their scoring and see how many points they won. So it's a point per trick, remembering that pairs tricks are 2 tricks. You're going to split those up. Also, every 3 tricks is an additional point. Every ace you captured is a point. The last trick is worth 3 points. And then if you capture all the tricks, that is also 3 points, which is kind of funny because it just incentivizes doing the same thing, but doing it even better. The last thing to do for the scoring is you're going to minus all the points that you bid in the round. So this player bid 5, so they would lose 5 points from the total. That's how to play one round. Then you're going to keep playing rounds with the person who won the last trick starting the next round, and you're going to play either 4 rounds or a point total like 30 points. And that is how to play gear. So that is fishing and gear. Let's talk about gear first. This one is interesting. I, again, love the graphic design and the box size and everything that Saito is doing with Brain Games. I love the whole aesthetic. It's absolutely gorgeous. I do think this might be my least favorite of the 3, sadly. The bidding is a cool idea, and it works somewhat well. There's some fun moments to noticing a good pile of cards and what you want from them. But sadly, the card play is just not terribly interesting. I don't think it's as dynamic or fun as Loop, or as kind of like concise and focused as Open. I think Open wasn't as good as Loop. I loved Loop at certain player counts, but I think Open knew what it was, and it was a cool kind of idea that really worked. Whereas this one, I just don't think. I don't know if it's because it's trying to be a little bit like that old game, but it just doesn't feel quite as fresh as the other 2. And maybe it's an expectation thing where the other 2 were like so cool, such a cool idea, executed pretty well. This one, I think it's just supposed to modernize an old game, and you can kind of tell in the game design. So I don't love gear, but I'm excited for what Saito-san does next. Okay, fishing. So the game is it's really interesting. I love the idea of what cards you win form your hand later, because there's usually always, you know, a somewhat good card because you want a trick, and then usually some just like bad stuff. I love that if you lose a lot, then you get access to this like deck of stronger and stronger things, and the game kind of has this flow tempo of like, you lose a lot, you win a lot, you lose a lot, you win a lot, kind of like waves on a ship, and like the flow there. And I think the deck makes sense, like it's usually higher numbers, or trump, or like more powers and such. I think sometimes though, it's a little tough where if you don't do as well as someone else and you get to draw like 3 cards, and sometimes you'll just draw like the 13 of 3 different suits, and then the next card is like a couple trump cards, which are just so much stronger than like a high card in a suit. So I think there's a little bit of like randomness in what you draw that is a little like, oh, okay. And then also I think the card play is just very obvious to a point. I think some of the higher up card play makes sense. I think this game is essentially, do you want to win a lot now, lose a lot now? I don't know how to describe this, but it's like meta card play, where the tricks themselves and the trick taking themselves isn't terribly interesting. It's more just about, do I want to win a lot this round or lose a lot this round? And sometimes there's some gray area. I think like sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'll win, you know, a trick or 2 or whatever. But usually you are looking at your deck, of cards that you won, and thinking about what your goal is. Like, do I slough a lot to get a bunch of good cards? Where am I in the structure of like the entire game? Like if I'm in the second to last round, and I could draw a lot from the deck, I definitely do not want to win that many tricks in the second last round. But if I have just like a huge amount of cards and I won't even draw them all in the second to last round, then I just want to win, right? And so then you're just trying to win as much as possible. So I think the game itself, like trick taking wise, isn't terribly interesting. Like you kind of know what you want to do if you want to like win a lot, lose a lot, or like maybe win 1 or 2 tricks. And you kind of just like play that out in a way. And it's cool that there's no shuffling, so it's like it's definitely quicker, which is awesome. But I do think when there's that many hands and the trick playing's a little bit rote, it's not terribly interesting from trick to trick. Especially like when you have the powers, like which card you're going to steal is always obvious. It's always the strongest one. Or like, I do think just by the nature of it, it's impossible to card count really, right? Because there's a ton of cards that are hidden, there's a ton of cards in the deck, there's a ton of new cards that come out that you don't know what they are. So the game, trick-taking wise, it feels a little bit random, feels a little bit wacky. And the player count thing is tough too, because it's like at 3 players, you just don't go through that deck very much. And so you don't really see too much of the wackiness or interesting parts if you do want wackiness. And then if you're at 5, then it's just like, oh, I can't even do much because it's just so, all over the place. When to play the steal a card is always fun. But again, to the trick play, it's like, it's obvious what card to steal. And usually, like, if you want to lose, it's obvious what to play, or if you want to win, it's obvious what to play. So that's fishing, and I know a lot of people like it, and I think they like that level of hands growing and trying not to win, trying not to lose. I think sometimes, though, I've just seen someone just like always win, and just see someone like always lose and then kind of like forced to win later, or someone kind of do both, and you kind of end up somewhere in the middle. It's kind of like what I talked about with like Flamme Rouge, where the game kind of rubber bands naturally. So if you're trying to win, you're probably going to do well. But also, like, what is doing well, or like what is winning in this game? Because you want to win, you want to lose, you want to like bounce around. But I do think the game kind of just bounces around for you a little bit sometimes. But it is cool. I think it's fun, and I'm always down to play just like a goofy game of it if it is a little long sometimes. Overall, it is a good time. It is a fun time. I think I was coming at it with the billing of it being like a trick-taking deck building game, and really it's more like Fabled Fruit, where you're just like kind of getting stuff, and sometimes you'll even like win tricks you don't want to win, and lose tricks you don't want to win. So I do think the planning of it, of like the deck building part of it, isn't quite there for me either. So maybe it's just an expectation thing. It's just like a little bit more random and a little bit even like less focused on the trick taking than I expected. But still really cool, still really fun. I do think there's really cool moments of timing. I think it's almost just like a timing game, really. If I get down to it, it almost feels like an auto battler with the trick taking, and like it's just like a timing game, which is cool, which is fun. So when I've played, I've kind of just focused on that timing, see what other people are doing on timing, and made that really the core aspect of the game. And then it's been really fun. And then you just get the random trick-taking randomness, or like the Fabled Fruit card draw randomness, and if there was a little bit of that unexpectedness in it. So I think it's a good time. Just for me personally, whenever I play, I do just expect that kind of a little bit of randomness, and maybe just focusing on when to, maybe like a climbing shedding game, like when to go out, when to like go, like I'm going to try to win everything this round, just get a bajillion points. And win during that game, win all the hands, when is that best for me? So, good stuff. That's fishing. Again, like, I hope it didn't sound negative. I think it's a great time. There's just some expectations where I'm like, oh, okay, like the trick taking for a lot of it is a little bit obvious, so maybe it's more of the meta-ness. And so focusing on the meta-ness is probably it. And gear, where, yeah, I don't know. I just didn't like gear that much. I'm excited for what they do next. It's awesome to see these ideas implemented, though. Like, I do think fishing as that idea of like Fabled Fruit trick taking is implemented well. And so I'm super excited for what Freeman and Saito do next. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!